Gen Z is doing, how they've changed the way they socialize. And after that, we actually have a sit-down interview with the founder of PVR, and we bring you an Oscars preview as the Oscars are right around the corner. First, let's take a look at all of the headlines. All right, first up, as we promised, we're going to be taking a look at a change, the comeback seemingly of offline activities. How wide is this change? We take a look at it first by looking at the data. Why are more Indians logging off? And then we speak to two young founders, who've come up with ways in which to create communities in which people socialize, spend time together, and are present. Why they thought it was necessary, that and more right here on the show. And after that, Oscars 2025, the final countdown. Remember, on Monday, we're going to be bringing you a breakdown of everything there is to look forward to on the red carpet and in the actual ceremonies. But today we tell you what there is, what's the countdown, who are the top nominees, Best Actor, Best Actress, and of course, the biggest award of the night, the Best Film. And after that, we sit down with the founder of PVR. He is the MD of PVR, Priya Ajay Bijli, and he walks us through what it's taken to build the cinema giant from one cinema hall to the country's largest cinema chain as it stands today, how they survived COVID, what it was like for him mentally. It's a tell-all, intimate interview. He sits down and speaks to us. And thank God it's Friday, we bring you the breakdown of everything you can do this weekend. So right from the films that are getting released to what there is on OTT to the live events you can go to, we're going to have our producer, Kaveri. She's going to be bringing you the lowdown. And then we tell you what's happened in the entertainment world. Titash is going to be bringing you the breakdown of everything that's taken place in Bollywood. This covers all of the gossip, the happenings, but we also tell you what's taken place in Hollywood over the last week. We live in a hyper-connected world. Our phones are buzzing constantly with notifications, social media feeds constantly refreshed, and screens dominating our personal and our professional lives. But across India, seemingly, something fascinating is happening. A growing number of people, especially millennials and those who belong to Gen Z, they're choosing to unplug. They're swapping Kindle screens for physical books, leaving their streaming services behind in favor of board games and vinyl records, and even embracing film photography over digital convenience. But the question is, what is driving this shift? And is it a permanent shift or just a temporary reprieve? In India, the average screen time per day has now crossed 7 hours. And that's just on people's personal devices. So not measuring how much time you're spending, for example, in front of your work computer. Studies show that 82% of working professionals in metro cities report digital fatigue. And 71% say they're actively looking for ways to reduce their screen time. A 2023 study by the Internet and Mobile Association of India actually found that 58%, so basically around 60% of young Indians consciously take digital detox on weekends. What that means is they're turning off their notifications, they're reducing social media usage, and they're embracing offline activities. That's an impressive number, but how real is that actually? We'll speak in just a second to two young Indians to get to know, as more Indians are signing up for offline experiences, such as, for example, Vipassana meditation retreats, where apart from meditating, you're forced to disconnect from all your digital devices for a period of 10 days. Experts suggest that all of these phenomena are a growing focus. The focus is on mental health, the need for time away from devices, and the need for time in which one is mindful and present. But to talk a little bit more about what's driving this movement, we have on the show two young founders with us today. First, we're going to go over to Savar Kumar. He's a founder of Break Free Club. We also have with us Sanjali Nirvani. She's the founder of the Unlock Bar, Kitchen and Escape Room. And we'll talk to both of them. We'll go over to both of them one by one to understand a little bit about what drove this huge change. Savar, we're coming over to you first just to understand. Savar, tell us, Break Free is a relatively new initiative in that it's about 7 months old. Why did you create Break Free Club? What's the story there? Tell us a little bit about what it's looked like over the last 7 months.
Sure, I would love to. Thanks for having me, Toya. So, Break Free Club is a community of people returning to mindfulness, nature, movement, and a strong knit community of like-minded people, which I started, as you said, 8 months ago. And we do all sorts of activities, from going cliff jumping on the weekend to a trek or a camping trip overnight, or something in town like an ice bath and sauna event. Or a boxing session and a meditation and breakfast on the weekend. The reason that I started Break Free Club was because it was about time, right? I mean, it's exactly like what you said. I think that there's been something kind of missing. There's something missing when you're attached to a screen all day because you have to work, probably under fluorescent lighting, and disconnected from nature or movement in the sun. Then the rest of your day is also looking at a screen, because our rest from looking at a screen is also where our social needs are met and our entertainment needs are met on Instagram and Netflix. And so a whole day kind of goes disconnected from some of these things that brought us a more meaningful sense of joy and contentment. And we're kind of perpetually stressed and anxious. But in response to that, we're compulsively watching, thinking, doing, consuming, listening, reading something online or someone else's thought, or even just busy work from work. And I think there's this, life is kind of cyclical, right? There's a longing for something deeper, for something meaningful, and something that makes people a little bit happy. And I wanted Break Free Club to be a function of that change. And in the last 7 months, on the treks we've gone to, on the meditations that we've done, I was surprised at how many people would wake up at 5 a.m. and go and meditate for an hour with a group of strangers. But it shows to me, it's evidence that there is so much of a craving for this kind of change.
Let me just tell our audiences, Savar, on the right side, right kind of in the center of your screens, what you're looking at right now are visuals from the Break Free Club. So those are some of the adventures they go on. These are typically hikes and treks that you can do. Sometimes I believe, Savar, it's within the same day. Sometimes it is over the course of 2 days. And this is largely around Maharashtra, but you do plan to grow it out into a bigger thing, hopefully nationally, in the next few years. Savar, what's the story behind Break Free? Why is it called Break Free? Where did it come from? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to. So I think this is in college, while I was studying in the US, I felt very deeply about this problem about compulsive phone usage, how we don't really have attention of freedom and attention of mind. Because in every moment, in every waking moment, we're kind of doing something that is against what we most deeply want to do. And so I built an app initially called Break Free from your phone to help people with the same problem through some different mechanisms. And while it eventually didn't work out with the app due to certain reasons, I eventually found my way back to figuring out the same problem, but finding a deeper solution. And I thought that the deeper solution to these larger problems of compulsive overconsumption that we face in society at large, which extends beyond phone usage, is solved by deeper practices like connecting with others, meditating, and also being in nature. And so the experience going on the 10-day Vipassana retreat also inspired me to make meditation a big part of this community, which I feel that everyone aspires to do, but very few of us actually get around to doing it because of how difficult it is, how confusing it can be to meditate. There's so many misconceptions around it. And so I kind of wanted to build a culture around doing these difficult things that we all aspire to do, to wake up at 5 a.m., to go for a trek, to go for a run, to meet new people, but we rarely end up doing.
Okay, so Savar, stay with us. We're going to come back to you because we haven't actually dived deeper into what it's been like, what people's experiences have been. But we need to shift focus right now to another guest for a second. So Sanjali Nirvani is also with us, and Sanjali has done something very, very different. So Sanjali, you founded Unlock Bar, and I just want to tell our audiences, some of them may not know what an escape room is. It's essentially a room where you're locked inside. You have have to figure out how to get outside. There are some clues. It's like a game. So you have an escape room, but you also have board games. And that's a really simple way in which people can interact with each other. And the cool thing about Unlocked is it's not new. It's something that's been around for years now in multiple cities. Again, it's not a one city operation. Tell us a little bit, Sanjali, about your founding story. So what did you see as the need for it, and how have the last few years looked like? Is it just lots and lots of encouragement from people? Have there been, bumps in that journey? Tell us a little bit more.
Hi, Toya. Thank you for having me. So yes, like you mentioned, Unlocked started with a very simple yet powerful vision for me. It was an idea to create that perfect third space, a space where people can come together and they can just connect with each other, form real, meaningful connections. How this was ideated for me personally was back in 2014. I went to business school in Barcelona and I was introduced to this brilliant board game called Settlers of Catan. Here I used to play Catan with a bunch of my friends from all over the world. This was people from America, Puerto Rico, any country that you name it. And board game was something that really connected us. It was true friendships and true rivalries that were formed. That idea stayed with me. Then I moved to Amsterdam and I was exposed to the idea of an escape room as a very immersive activity. A few years later, when I moved back to India, I found the entertainment space in India to be slightly limited to eating out or going for a movie. I wanted to disrupt that cafe culture, which was already booming. And what better way to do it than board games? So here I decided to combine good food, great ambience, along with board games, along with an escape room. And that's how Unlock was born. This was back in 2017. It's been a good 8+ years. I still can't believe it because it feels like a new phenomenon and a baby for me. But it's been an incredible journey. In fact, I have first-handedly seen this whole culture of board gaming evolve in our country. We're not new to board gaming. Back in the day, as kids, we used to play Uno or Ludo, Snakes and Ladders. Even in Mahabharata, there was a game of dice. But then now this evolution has become more like a movement. There are modern board games such as like Catan, Scythe, Wingspan, Cards Against Humanity, you name it. We have a list of like 200+ board games that we have in our library. We saw the shift. Initially, we used to see only maybe a niche audience, the somewhat like nerds who used to be playing board games or the enthusiasts. But as we started hosting regular board gaming nights, we saw something incredible happen. These people who came in for maybe like a casual board game night with their friends, they started bringing their friends, their colleagues, their families over to Unlocked. And the best part was they would learn a game, they would fall in love, and they would take it back with them, back to their homes, back to their offices, and this culture just boomed and how. So it's a movement which I feel India is just at the brink of, because internationally there are new games which are coming out. Like every year there are hundreds of games that come out. Any topic that you think of, there is a game for it. And the only thing that matters when you play a game is you could be sitting across anybody on the table, and yet the only thing on your mind is how do you win? Somebody who's as competitive as me, you would think about what's the next strategy, how do you win? And that's what I see, that the real connections are really formed, and business is doing well, touch wood. So I think this trend is here to stay for sure. Like I said, it's a movement, it's a revolution and not just a trend.
Let me ask both of you a really pessimistic question then, all right, Sanjali, because you've painted such a beautiful picture, and I want to ask both of you this then. These moments that people are taking away from their phones, so whether it is Savar, traveling, trekking, or Sanjali, whether it is sitting down in front of a chessboard, the pessimistic view of all of this is that these are just a few moments away that one is taking in a week. Today, we're too deeply embedded into our gadgets for this to actually be meaningful in a bigger way, for it to actually change our brain chemistry in any meaningful way. I want to ask you how both of you respond to that. I know pessimistic thoughts. Savar, we'll come to you first.
Yes, I would love to answer that. I feel like this initial stage of technology where we've been very addicted to our phones, and it's been socially engineered to be made so addictive. I think it was just going to be the initial phase where we were figuring it out. Companies had different intentions and incentives to extrapolate as much of our time as possible. But now there's such a deep thirst for more mindful use of technology, and I think people genuinely want technology to both serve our functions. Like, for example, I want to be able to use Google Maps, I want to be able to use Notes, I maybe want to be able to access Spotify or different apps on my phone while limiting the addictive aspects of it. And I think that this world is not only possible, it's inevitable that it'll happen. And I think that it's been proven that a single experience of meditation for non-experienced meditators can change your brain structure. A single experience in nature can also change the way that your brain is wired. It can make you far more present, far more creative, release a lot of anxiety. As something as simple as a deep breath in a forest is literally been scientifically proven to release anxiety. And so as it becomes a part of our life, doing these things on a daily basis, going to nature, even at a small level, going for walks outside, as we become more connected, our whole experience changes. And why can't we have both? Why can't we have the benefits of technology while also not being extremely anxious, addicted, and stressed out as well?
I love that. You're essentially, it sounds quite utopian, is essentially it. And it's beautiful. Let me just come over to Sanjali to ask you. Sanjali, answer that question, but also tell me, when people are playing board games, are they still checking their phones?
Oh my God, this is the coolest aspect about board games, that nowadays people can't go without looking at their phones every 5 minutes. But I have first-handedly seen, once you play a game, at least maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, nobody is even picking up their phones because you're so engrossed in that particular game. You're so engrossed in trying to have a conversation with the person across the table. That for me is the coolest aspect, because like you mentioned, we're living in this attention economy, right? Where brands like Instagram, Netflix, they are hiring the best of marketers to actually monetize eyeballs. Here, we're trying to build a different kind of addiction. Like somebody who comes in, they might play something as easy as an Uno, but then we make them get into like a gateway strategy game. Then we go into a marathoner, or you could just come in for a glass of beer with your friends, but you can play like a party game. The whole idea is the way you unlock your phones, and you unlock a bunch of activities in your phone, be it Instagram, be it online games, chats. But at Unlocked, you're taking that whole experience in an offline mode. You're coming in, you're having conversations with people, you're trying to interact with people, but like without actually looking at a physical screen. And it is super refreshing.
That's also why you're called Unlocked, I would imagine.
That's one of the reasons we are called Unlocked, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. Sabar, and thank you. Sabar, thank you so much for telling us all of this. Sanjali, thank you for telling us, just breaking down for us why it is that Unlocked is sticking with people and has been sticking with people over the last few years. We wish both of you good luck. Sanjali's Unlocked is available in many places across the country. Sabar, we're hoping you'll grow across the country so people can go out and experience nature. Thank you both of you for joining us and for taking out the time.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to move on now from this to something slightly different. We're taking you to the world of the Oscars. Monday is, of course, when the Oscars are going to be playing out for us right in here in India. It's the 97th Academy Awards. It's the biggest night in Hollywood, and excitement and the debates are heating up around who will take home the top honors, who will be fan favorites, and who could possibly be the major upsets. We're showing you on your screens right now some of the visuals. That's the Conclave. It's one of the nominees for the best film. We're just going to show you each of them. There you can, of course, see a film that was very, very popular, Wicked, this year. But in a year where diversity, inclusivity, they're all at the forefront, how are the Oscars changing the conversation? We'll break down the biggest categories: Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, of course, Best Picture. We'll talk about all of this, and we'll talk about what lies in store. So all of that's going to happen on Monday. But what are we talking about today? We have with us here on the show, Vishal is going to be breaking down for us everything that we can expect on Monday. Let's just go over to him to understand a little bit more. Vishal, thank you for joining us. Vishal, let me just tell our audiences, they might recognize you every time, you sit down for interviews. They might recognize you from them. But tell us, Vishal, the Oscars are still 3 days away, and the Emilia Perez controversy, so the controversy around one of the actors' tweets, has seemingly last minute thrown a screw or a spanner rather in who could be the final nominee. This is a film that had the most nominees, and suddenly you have this last minute controversy over the last few weeks that's built up. So now tell us, when it comes to Best Picture, Best Actor and Best Actress, place your bets for us, Vishal.
Well, very good morning. First, I have to say that unlike last year when Oppenheimer bagged 7 Oscars, this year it's a mixed bag. Rather, a very suspenseful year at the movies at the Oscars, because there's no front runner or one film that is expected to sweep the Oscars. Like Karen Culkin is expected to take home the Oscar for the Best Supporting Actor for his memorable performance in Real Pain, where Zoe Saldana surely going to win the Best Supporting Actress for her performance in Emilia Perez, and also the Best Song. I think out of the 13 nominations that Emilia Perez has got, it's only 2 I think they will be getting. Now, for a long time, it was Demi Moore, which was like a favorite for the Best Actress title. But in the award season, a lot of things have changed. Recently, Mikey Madison name has been popping up. People are talking about.
For Honora, we're showing it on the right. Yeah.
And for Honora, yes, and she's been winning all the Guild Awards. While the Best Director Oscar, it looks like the Brutalist Helmer, Reddy Corbett is expected to win. And Best Picture is sometimes they're not very sure will it be Brutalist or Honora, or it could be Conclave, which picked up the BAFTA.
Oh wow. Okay, so Vishal, tell us, when it comes to the Indian angle here, you know, in the last few years, you've had something like RRR. You've had a few films make a mark in the Oscars in a way that's made us really care, sit up, say, ab kya hoga. This time, what do we have to look forward to?
See, first, I just want to say that, while we'll be bringing all the updates to our viewers from the 97th Academy Awards here on Scene and News 18, the awards will be, of course, held on Monday early morning at Dolby Theatre in LA from 6 a.m. onwards. What we can expect from, from the ceremonies, the deadpan humor from this year's Academy host, Conan O'Brien,
right,
who, the way, is expected to crack some non-political jokes. In fact, Conan had mentioned in one of his interviews that I'm going to plan some terrible mistakes. So we are hoping for an entertaining opening monologue, some funny Oscar puns. Academy also will be paying a tribute to the city of Los Angeles as a city of dreams, and will be honoring firefighters and fire first responders who bravely tackled the wildfire. Oscar also will be bringing back the old way of introducing nominees, means playing variety of film clips as the acting nominees are introduced, something that had been missing from the ceremony from last few years. Now, Lisa from this season of White Lotus and the band Blackpink will also perform. So as Doja Cat, Queen Latifah will be playing a musical tribute to Quincy Jones. And what's more, as everyone's favorites, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande will be performing The Magic of Oz on the Oscar stage. Also, last year's acting nominees will be back this year as presenter. This means Cillian Murphy, Emma Stone, Robert Downey Jr. and Davina Joy Randolph will be returning to Oscar stage.
Okay, let me just tell our audiences, on the right side what you're looking at is the host Conan O'Brien. This is the red carpet rolling out ceremony that typically takes place right before the Oscars. That's what he's doing over there. He is a comedian, so he is approaching it in a funny manner. Tatas, if we could come to you next, just to ask you a little bit more about everything there is to look forward to. Tatas, tell us a little bit about the interesting stories that we're going to watch play out. So, for example, the fact that for Demi Moore, this could be a big comeback. This award would mean so much for her. It's also for a film that's a very ironic film to win it on. Substance is premised on this idea, that someone might be past their prime. So tell us a little bit about the undercurrents our audiences should watch out for.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with what Vishal said. I think most people are rooting for, it's either, I think the top contenders across categories has to be Honora, The Brutalist, Emilia Perez, and The Substance, like you said. And yes, Substance, I think the theme is pretty interesting. It sort of explores, I think, show business's biggest fear, which is aging. And interestingly, Demi Moore 62, this is her first nomination at the Academy Awards, imagine. But I think she has a lot going on, in her favor. I mean, she has won the Golden Globes already. And interestingly, I think the one thing that I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to is the kind of inclusivity and diversity, play out, because I think back in 2024 there were some new standards, pertaining to inclusivity that was sort of introduced in the Academy Awards, and look at the LGBTQI, representation, across categories, be it your Emilia Perez, or Sophia Gaskin. Of course, we have to talk about her, and of course we have our Anuja, which is, in India at the Oscars, which is very, very pretty interesting. We have Guneet and, Priyanka, who very graciously came on board, and, they're presenting that beautiful little film. So yes, I think it's really going to be very, very interesting. Let's see what happens. And yes, I am personally looking forward to Lisa's performance. She is also the first Korean musician actually to be performing at the Academy Awards.
Right,
Yeah.
Lisa from Blackpink. I keep saying that again
Yes.
and again, so that if anyone follows any kind of Korean pop, they'll know exactly when they need to tune in. Vishal, can we ask you lastly? In the last few years, there's been a lot of criticism for the Oscar ceremonies. Some have said, it's fallen in standard. Just the hosting in particular, they've said it's become quite drab. And this year we saw each of these award ceremonies receive a fresh breath of life. The Grammys, for example, this time, they were hosted in a really, really fun manner. This time, the host for the Oscars is Conan O'Brien. I believe it's his first time hosting, Vishal. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Can we expect different? Tell us a little bit about what he's like as a host.
He's famous for his deadpan humor, and he's of course he's very non-political, so expect some non-political jokes. But my favorite, what I miss for as a host is either one of Jimmy Fallon, or basically Ellen DeGeneres, who actually broke the internet way back in 2012 when with the famous
photo.
celebrity selfie. Those kind of fun, because what happened with Will Smith, because Academy really needs a host that can really manage and tackle live audience. And something these stand-up late night comedy show hosts are very good. Although my favorite is Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who are famous for their humor. So and this is what we can expect from this year's Academy host, and kind of jokes. Also, like she said, Sophia Gaskin-Carter is of course the first trans woman who is nominated at the Academy.
Right.
She's definitely, this is her best shot, and and going by the predictions, she is not going to win. But her being part of that list speaks a lot. It's very inspiring. It will open doors for the future for the trans actors in the future, considering what is going in America right now. So that's a big win. Also, a lot of talk right now is going around on Mikey Madison, and who could who could win Best Actress award, because considering the history of for Academy likes to honor young actresses and old actors. Like Timothy Chalamet
that's another Vishal ironic. That's another ironic sentence. Keeping in mind again what Substance is about. But you're totally right. We have been hearing so much about Honora. Mikey Madison. We were showing there for a second to our audiences on the screens right now. Titas, Vishal. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but we're going to see you again on Monday. So we're excited to see you. For our audiences, you now know the list of films you need to catch up on. Some of those films, like The Brutalist, like The Conclave, are in theatres right now. You can go catch them before Monday takes place, so you know what's happening when the Oscars happen. This is our Oscar special. It's going to be taking place 6 a.m. Monday onwards into the morning, right here on The Breakfast Club.
Well, it's a zoo, yes. It's a madness. it's kind of fun. I would love to be a little mouse and kind of go around and see everything that's happening, but that's kind of not in the picture.
It was because of what he did to me in the movie.
He wanted more, you know.
Right. Right. Thank you, sir. May I have another, please?
Yes.
Do you exact some revenge in this movie? Is that why you kind of go after him?
You're the only person who's ever finally figured it out.
I bet you he goes after you good.
Yeah, he does. He really pursues me. It was a great fun experience. We did the kind of things that actors love to do. We had a lot of dialogue. We had a lot of very tense, emotional scenes. It was just everything that one would wish for in a part.
Right? This is wonderful. So how does it feel? What you mean?
I can't do a lot of these kind of films, you know. You only have so much energy, and it takes a lot of energy to do these. So I would prefer to do more character-driven pieces that are more suited to my age and my physique.
Well, I'd worked with Gene Hackman on Behind Enemy Lines, so I'd gotten to know him a little bit. And I think it was sort of, you know, that was sort of, in order for the movie to be good, Royal Tenenbaum had to be great. And we were really lucky that Gene Hackman agreed to do it, because I don't know who else could have been as good as he was.
Hackman is a much bigger handful. You know, he's like more like certain things with the character that he's playing. He's a really intense person, and he's intimidating, and he's also kind of a legend, and you know, he's fiery. So it's more of a, there's a lot more work that goes into that, but he's exciting. That's the main thing, is that, you know, he's always surprising you with what he's doing, and he's challenging you kind of all the time. So, you know, it's very different from the other actors.
Where's the audio? There's the audio. Is that the audio? Where's the audio? So as you sat there, watching your life flash before your eyes, so to speak, what kind of thoughts went through your mind, and what kind of feelings in your heart?
Yeah, I was thinking about the clips that they chose. You know, actors being who they are, we'd always like something a little different, or a little different payoff or whatever. But generally speaking, it was all terrific. I was very surprised that they showed a clip from Runaway Jury, which I just finished Wednesday night. So that was kind of nice.
This is Gene Hackman. Happy holidays.
Welcome back. Next, we sit down with a man who grew PVR from just one screen in Basant Vihar to the nation's largest multiplex chain, PVR Inox. In a sit-down, Ajay Bijli told us about what it took to build, how they survived COVID and OTT platforms in the influx, and what's next for the theatre giant. This is just a very, very small excerpt. Take a look. I want to ask you, there are two actually big phenomenons that are bunched together. One is OTTs, the other is the pandemic. And this question of what they did to you, or rather what either one of these two did to the way that you looked at the business. Can you take us back to 2020 Tell us a little bit about what it was like. I know something that you've said in interviews of yours is that actually phenomenons like this happen every few years. So while this is one phenomenon we can talk about that changed the entire industry, in some ways you're used to it. But still, take us back to what it was like. Tell us also, if you don't mind, internally what it was like. How did you navigate that moment?
No, first of all, when I've said that home entertainment or phenomena like this have happened in the past, what I meant was that home entertainment has always evolved over the years. You know, you've had your color TV. First TV came. Then if you look at the history of cinema, I think 1919 or something, the first cinema opera, 1929, I don't remember. We can get that. Color TV, when it came, TV when it came, people said cinemas are going to go. In fact, cinema started showing news at that time. Then color TV came, then
Each tech
VHS.
makes you feel
so,
the current
so
one is
home
obsolete.
entertainment, which is what I put all this under bracket, always impacted, but then suddenly water found its own level. People sat at home for doing whatever they had to do at home, and they also went out. So both were thriving. There were like little disruptions. In fact, when Qiyamah Se Qiyamah came, that was around 89, is when I built my first cinema. Renovated my first cinema. That's the time people said, what are you doing? That time VHS penetration was at its highest point, and ticket prices were controlled, and cinemas were completely getting destroyed. That was also a very, very telling moment at that time. But yet, when you build good cinemas, big movies came, people had time for both. It's like eating at home and going out, ordering on Zomato or going out. So lots of things happen. People are not straight-jacketed and only keep doing one thing. So that is what I've always sort of bet on, that people will not do only one thing. Okay, they will do multiple things, and especially in India, where movie going is very much part of our culture. It's interwoven into the fabric of our, how we entertain ourselves. So therefore, this too shall pass.
Right.
However, I underestimated the impact of COVID. I never thought COVID will be that massive an impact. So all other factors that happened, they used to compare Spanish flu with COVID. So I think Spanish flu also had a devastating effect, and this also had a devastating effect in my industry. So this was a body blow. There's no question about it. But I still remained sanguine. I said it is a body blow. It is going to have a major impact on us, but we will still bounce back. But it has taken longer than possible. But I think definitely that every reason why we haven't bounced back the way we were at pre-COVID level has been very easily identifiable, because the number of movies, first of all, got bunched up and got released on OTT. Then shooting stopped. So therefore the quantity and the quality of movies stopped. People's viewing habits changed. Therefore people had to relook at the scripts and say, now OTT content has become so edgy. TV shows, can we make our movies also edgier? So even the film fraternity, not just in India, all over the world. Then the strike in Hollywood happened.
Right.
That impacted us. So therefore, now all that is gone. I feel 25-26 is going to be a very, very positive year. Because now when I talk to the studios in Hollywood, I talk to the film industry here, which is South and Bombay, I find that they've got their act together. Also, the water has found its level where TV shows are back on OTT. It's not necessarily films.
The occasional film.
Yeah, occasional films will come, but not the way suddenly an Akshay Kumar starrer is going there. That's not happening anymore. And also the economic rationale of releasing a movie theatrically first is very well understood by everybody. Release the movie theatrically, let it get monetized theatrically. There is no upper limit to how much the movie can earn, because otherwise if you go to an OTT platform with a movie which is made for 10 crores, you will get 10 crores plus 10%, 20%, whatever the economics is. Here you can do a movie like 12th Fail or any small film. And then, no, I won't say small. Vidhu Vinod Chopra, if he's watching, he'll say, "Meri picture no small kehta." Small nahi, matlab like a movie like that, which is not at a smaller budget.
Maybe
then,
not big stars.
Big
That's
star.
an easy way to, yeah.
Then it can just hit like a complete sixer. It can 100 crores or whatever. So therefore, that realization has also come to the content makers, that let's release the movie theatrically first, monetize it, then go to the other windows. Even the OTT players say, okay, let me understand the performance of the movie first. Then I'm ready to pay you. But if I don't know the performance, it could be a big starrer movie as well. Suppose it is something that's not going to do well theatrically, then I'm not going to pay you.
So you're saying that there's almost a way in which theatres have now evolved as a different purpose, the purpose of a testing ground in a sense.
No, monetizing. Testing will undermine the importance of theatres.
Right.
Yeah, massive monetizing can happen in theatres. The maximum monetizing happens in theatres. So still 65% of a film revenue, 70% comes from theatrical. So it is more than yeah.
So
no, I just want to get that out.
No, so the next question is very much related to this. I just want to ask, you're a dad of 3 kids. The reason I bring that up is because do you at home observe the viewing habits of that younger generation and sort of get your ground notes, your field work from the way in which they are spending time? How much are they choosing to go to films? How much are they watching stuff on their own phones? Do you use that, and have you used that over the last few years as an observation point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making movies. I'm only I'm a
them.
vehicle in which people come and watch movies. So I think that observation is not just being done by me, that's being done by the filmmakers. For example, horror movies did very well. Horror comedies did very well. If you look at the biggest movie of last year, apart from Pushpa 2, was 3-2. Bhool Bhulaiya did well. Before that, this re-release that we did of Tumbar did well. Even in Hollywood, horror movies are doing well. So the young audience is definitely liking horror films. They're liking comedies. They're liking big event films as well. So not just observing my 3 kids, it's beyond, the beyond them, and they of course help me a lot in telling. But all I can do with that information that I get is just to pass it on and to the producers and distributors, and then they hope that they create content which is something which resonates with the 12 to 34 audience which is coming to our cinemas.
Can we ask you almost to take us behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And so what I mean when I say that is, take us a little bit into what it's like in your own head when there is a period like the pandemic. It doesn't have to be something as long as the pandemic. I know shorter instances, I know sometimes the World Cup can also throw up a bit of a googly. So these incidents come, how have you started grappling with it? You said this too shall pass, and I thought that was a beautiful mantra, but take us a little bit more to what it feels like before you arrived there.
Before I?
Arrive at this too shall pass. So psychologically,
yeah,
how long are you sort of worried by things? Do you wait for the data to come in before you get worried? What is that like behind the scenes?
When COVID happened?
COVID or any of these incidents? COVID was longer, which is why I think it really stayed with me. I wanted to know how you sort of looked at the light at the other side of the tunnel.
No, you see, I think I've said that in a couple of interviews. I'll just briefly take a moment on that. Is that coincidentally, I was reading a lot of Indian books like Mahabharata and all that at that time, and my mom is, God bless her, with me. Selena's, my wife, is really spiritual and all that. So fortunately, around that time, I started counting my blessings, and I didn't look at life one-dimensional view of life. I took that business is down and life is gone. So it wasn't like that. So I said, let me look at the positives. My health is there, my kids are with me, and my mom is with me, my wife is with me, and there are a lot of positives in life. Okay, one part of my life which is extremely important, business has really gone downhill, and there's no visibility of when it will turn around. Losses are accumulating, massive problems we had, and I've had to deal with a lot of my own people, talk to them every single day. But I just took a call that I'm not going to get bogged down, and it was not easy. Initially, it was a body blow, as I said, but then slowly I grappled with it. I think it's just to not be reactive is one thing that I do. I just have a think about what is going on and just calm myself down, and then sort of say, take things in perspective and not get too carried away. Of course, we are human beings, we are frail. Every day we get excited. We try to be. I think mental stability and equanimity is much more difficult than physical getting into shape.
Resilience even.
I think getting into shape is not a problem. Getting physically fit and getting into shape. I think mental equanimity for me is a much more, it requires a much more evolved human being, because how do you remain focused in extreme dire situations and extreme euphoric situations? Can you remain calm and balanced?
As you said, equanimity.
Yeah, equanimity.
So just to go back to what we were talking about a little bit, which is PVR post-pandemic. So we talked about what it did to you, how you dealt with it. But I want to ask you, the PVR that we're looking at today, PVR Inox that we're looking at today,
Yeah.
where are we going? I'm asking you this because we hear about, for example, I'll talk about Interstellar. It's come out in theatres across the entire country, and you have people coming in to see it because of the way it looks on the screen. Is the future more of just digitally beautiful films, people coming out to view the films because it's finally a very, very immersive experience? What do you see the future of PVR Inox looking like?
I think story has to be immersive, not just the film. I keep going back to movies like, again, some small budget movies which have done very well. Again, at 12th Fail, even Sam Bahadur was not a big budget movie. Lapata Ladies, brilliant movie. So these movies are all immersive in storytelling, not immersive. Of course, that also really matters. Of course, if people come, they watch an Oppenheimer or a Mission Impossible or a Maverick or a Pushpa, that they can't get at home on a 12-meter screen and Dolby Digital sound. At the same time, they also want to come for escapism. Funny enough, I really enjoyed Love Yapa as well. Did you see it?
No, I didn't, but I know it's in theatres right now. I don't think me or anyone else has not been able to see the promotion of it. That one song, the visuals.
Yeah.
So we've all seen that for sure.
So basically, I found very engaging. So for me, movie has to be engaging. It doesn't matter what budget it's made for. Of course, the enhancement from me comes from storytelling.
The Indian audience goer. We're noisy sometimes, where we disturb others sometimes. What's a good thing about the way we watch movies?
That you come out and watch movies. I think that itself is very good. That when you like a movie, it goes to another level, which is fantastic. The fact that it is not easy navigating through the traffic, it's not easy making a program at home with your family, with your friends, which movie, which show, which cinema, reaching on time, one guy has not come, anxiety levels, picture shuru hone wali hai, wo nahi aaya, all that. Despite all these factors, yet people come and watch movies, and despite whatever people have said, we still get 150, 170 million people to our cinemas. So that itself is a big thank you to the Indian consumers, because that hasn't happened anywhere in the world, that people have come back to cinemas the way they have come back in India.
That's huge, and I feel like we don't talk about it enough, because we talk about the negative headlines, the fact that, cinemas just haven't made it back in that way, that a lot, but not this.
So the bounce back of the exhibition industry has happened the best in India than anywhere else, because our dependence is not just on Hollywood content. Our circuit is dependent on Hollywood, PVR, because of the demographic sort of setup.
Right, you told us right from where it started even.
But otherwise, 1700 films coming of different languages in India is unheard of in any other market. So our dependence, so suddenly a movie will do well in South, which can resonate everywhere, fantastic. Suddenly a Punjabi movie will do well, which resonates everywhere, we are okay. Now Chama has come, okay, it's a Hindi movie, but it's just done phenomenal business.
Yeah, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a little bit of an insight into the mind of Ajay Bijli. You can, of course, catch the longer interview where he breaks down how he's thought through the film experience, everything from the tiles on the floor to the couching on your cushions. He has thought through, the PVR team has thought through. They talk a little bit about it, and we take a deeper look at it right here on the show. It's a longer interview that we've done. It's a sit-down conversation for about 30 minutes that you can catch online after this. All right, after this, we're going to take you on to something different. We're going to take you to TGIF. It's Friday, which means we have next for you everything you can watch on the weekly segment. It's a lowdown of the films, what you can go out and do with your family and friends, the music you can listen to, the concerts you can do, and of course the exhibitions you can attend. Take a look. This is Kaveri with more.
Hello everyone, you're watching Thank God It's Friday with me, Kaveri Gupta. Let's dive into the latest releases for this week. First up is Crazy, a gripping thriller directed by Girish Kohli starring Soham Shah. Known for his roles in Tumbad, Maharani and Talwar, Soham takes us on an emotional edge of your seat ride about a father's redemption. Next is Superboys of Malegaon, directed by Reema Kakti. This drama features Adarsh Gaurav, Anu Singh Dohan and Jagdish Raj Purohit. It follows Rashid Sheikh, an amateur filmmaker from Malegaon and hopping onto the trends of re-releases with not one but two movies in theatres near you. Movie buffs, get ready to conclude February, the month of love, on a romantic yet nostalgic note by re-watching Madhuri Dixit, Karishma Kapoor and Shah Rukh Khan's blockbuster Dil To Pagal Hai on big screen today. And Dhanush's Bollywood debut is back on the big screen. The heart-wrenching love story also stars Sonal Kapoor and Abhay Deol. And if you have missed this before, now is your chance to experience it on the big screen again. Moving on to the small screen, this week's OTT releases are binge watchers' paradise. On number 1 is Dabba Cartel, streaming on Netflix, a crime thriller web series about 5 ordinary women running a drug cartel under the guise of a Dabba service, with stars like Shabana Azmi, Jyotika and Gajraj Rao. This one's a must watch. Number 2 is Beetlejuice 2 on Jio Hotstar. The cult classic is back. Gothic horror comedy takes place more than 3 decades after the events of the OG movie, as Lydia Dietz, now a mother, struggles to keep her family afloat amid a close one's demise, with the ghastly Beetlejuice back to haunt her. Number 3 is Ziddi Girl, streaming on Prime Video. This show follows 5 Gen Z freshmen in Delhi as they face a crisis at their college. But if you're looking to head out for something bit more fun than your usual cafe hopping, here are the coolest events to enjoy. Music lovers, don't miss Thodi Si To Lift Kara De. You guessed that right. Adnan Sami performing live tomorrow in Mumbai. Get ready to groove to his iconic tunes. Again in Mumbai, it's an evening with Kapoor on March 2. India's soulful voice will bring his folk and Bollywood hits to the stage. Don't miss his electrifying performance. But if you are in Chennai, don't miss Shreya Ghoshal also performing live tomorrow, and it is going to be a musical treat. But we have something for the nature lovers as well. Now head to the Amrit Udyan to enjoy over 140 varieties of roses, a floral jog and so much more at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. That's a wrap for this week. We'll be back with lots more. Stay tuned for next Friday. Have an amazing weekend. Ciao.
Well, it's a zoo, yes. It's a madness. It's kind of fun. I would love to be a little mouse and kind of go around and see everything that's happening, but that's kind of not in the picture.
It was because of what he did to me in the movie.
He wanted more, you know.
Right. Right. Thank you, sir. May I have another, please?
Yes.
Do you exact some revenge in this movie? Is that why you kind of go after him?
You're the only person who's ever finally figured it out.
I bet you he goes after you good.
Yeah, he does. He really pursues me. It was a great fun experience. We did the kind of things that actors love to do. We had a lot of dialogue. We had a lot of very tense, emotional scenes. It was just everything that one would wish for in a part.
Right? This is wonderful. So how does it feel? What you mean?
I can't do a lot of these kind of films, you know. You only have so much energy, and it takes a lot of energy to do these. So I would prefer to do more character-driven pieces that are more suited to my age and my physique.
Well, I'd worked with Gene Hackman on Behind Enemy Lines, so I'd gotten to know him a little bit. And I think it was sort of, that was sort of, in order for the movie to be good, Royal Tenenbaum had to be great. And we were really lucky that Gene Hackman agreed to do it, because I don't know who else could have been as good as he was.
Hackman is a much bigger handful. He's like more like certain things with the character that he's playing. He's a really intense person, and he's intimidating, and he's also kind of a legend, and he's fiery. So it's more of a, there's a lot more work that goes into that, but he's exciting. That's the main thing, is that he's always surprising you with what he's doing, and he's challenging you kind of all the time. So it's very different from the other actors.
And we're bringing the show and this entire week to a close. Next with Tita, she tells you everything that's happened in the entertainment world. Take a look, and thank you for staying with us this whole week.
Hello there, let's take a quick look at the week that was. Speculations are rife that Govinda and his wife Sunita Ahuja may be heading for a divorce after 37 years of marriage, owing to ongoing disagreements, arguments and different lifestyles. The family members have however refuted these rumours. Govinda's niece Aarti Singh and nephew Krishna Abhishek's wife Kashmira Shah have exclusively told us that it's a baseless and horrible report. Govinda's manager later called this episode a publicity stunt and asserted that the couple doesn't live separately, unlike what Sunita had claimed. Now the lawyer has made a revelation that even though the couple filed for divorce 6 months back, they're getting back together. Speaking about divorces, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are officially single again. In a clear sign of closure, Jennifer has legally dropped Ben's last name. The divorce was finalized after 2 years of marriage and a month-long legal process. The former lovebirds, who rekindled their romance nearly 2 decades after their first engagement, married in 2022. One of the key factors in the divorce settlement was the division of their shared assets, particularly their $60 million Beverly Hills mansion. Reports suggest that Jennifer and Ben did not sign a prenup, making the asset division even more complex. Cricketer Yuzvendra Chahal and choreographer-influencer Dhanashree Verma have also completed the legal proceedings of their divorce at the Bandra family court. During a 45-minute counseling session, they reportedly informed the judge that they have been living separately for the past 18 months and came to this decision due to compatibility issues. However, Dhanashree's lawyer has denied this, saying that the matter is sub judice and nothing is finalized yet. What followed were viral claims that Dhanashree has asked for Rs 60 crore alimony from Yuzvendra. But a family called the alimony reports baseless. After a men's rights group called for a ban on Sania Malhotra starrer Mrs. for promoting toxic feminism, Kangana Ranaut has now seemingly taken a jibe at the film by penning a long note on Instagram, urging people to stop generalizing Indian joint families, demonizing elderly people and endorsing divorces. She rejected the idea of comparing homemakers to paid workers,